President Joe Biden says he will soon get his booster shot, and he's going to do everything he possibly can to put vaccine mandates in place everywhere he can. He makes this announcement as his approval polls continue to fall week after week. Now a majority, 53%, disapprove of Biden's performance for the first time, according to this latest study. Joining us now is David Dulio, political science professor at Oakland University. Good morning, David. How are you?
I'm good, Kevin. How are you?
I'm doing well. I listening to Joe Biden during the break. Fox reporters reporting that he's ready to get his booster shot, and when they talked to him about that, he said, "Look, I'm going to put mandates everywhere I can, any way I can think of to put a mandate in place for vaccinations. I'm going to do it." Most of the country supports vaccination, but I don't think most of the country supports mandates, being told that they have to do it. I think they appreciate the education, the studies that come out from the CDC and other medical professionals. But when it comes to mandates, does that put people off when elected officials say, you have to do this?
Well, for a certain portion of the country, it certainly does. There are other parts of the country, other constituencies, other segments of the population that are okay with it. And it pretty much falls along partisan lines these days. It's another one of those issues that has split the country, and it's about a 50-50 on that these days.
So he may not get beat up too bad on his approval rating from vaccine mandates. Where is he suffering all this trouble? I know it really started with Afghanistan. People wildly disappointed with decisions that were made by the Biden administration in Afghanistan. Is it all of that, or is it more?
It's more. It's a number of issues are hurting the president right now, and it's his slide started actually before Afghanistan. If we look at how the polls changed over time, he was dipping down and had a bit of a slide prior to the middle of August. But Afghanistan and the way the United States got out of Afghanistan really hurt him among the public, and it's continued with I think what we're seeing at the southern border. And COVID, it's probably hurting him as well.
Yeah, this, it seems like he's turned his attention to COVID away from Afghanistan almost immediately, as quickly as he could. They moved to change the topic of conversation from Afghanistan to COVID, but they could not ignore what was going on at the border. There was just too many cameras showing all of these Haitians who were pretty much trapped under this bridge in difficult conditions, and I think the administration couldn't turn away. They had to admit that they needed to do something about that. What does that look like from a leadership standpoint?
Well, they're pivoting from issue to issue, right? I mean, there are any number of things that are coming at the White House these days, whether it is Afghanistan and the folks that want to get out. That can't and are still there, right? That hasn't gone away, and Americans haven't forgotten about that. They see these Haitian refugees at the southern border. They see people streaming across the Rio Grande, and they wonder what's happening. I think the White House is in some respects caught in whiplash here, right? They're having to pivot from one thing to the other, whether it's Afghanistan, the border, the prospects of the $3.5 trillion spending bill that's going to be taken up apparently pretty shortly here in Congress, right? Which really is where the president's domestic agenda hinges. And they've got to put out all these different fires or pay attention to all these different things that are happening, and it can be tough to manage.
Yeah, the infrastructure bill, the $1.5 trillion bill, that's stuff that has to get done. I think that's pretty popular with everybody. People, I think, recognize that we need to, fix roads and bridges and sewers and all that stuff. The reconciliation bill, do you think that helps him to be talking about and pushing that. That's going to provide a lot of, $3.5 trillion that some people describe it as stuff that people want, but we don't necessarily need.
Right, and I think that there's a reason that the White House and congressional Democrats have tried to call that bill an infrastructure bill as well, when in fact there's not a whole lot of infrastructure in it. But infrastructure, as you mentioned, is pretty popular, is something that the public can get behind. But when they start to hear other details about items that are in it, as well as the price tag is giving people pause, and not just people in the public, but important votes in the Senate, like Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema and some other Democrats too. And when we heard in the last couple days that now there's a deal between the House, the Senate, and the White House about how to pay for this thing, and it's gonna likely mean increased taxes. People start to hear that, and they I think they question, okay, who's going to end up paying for this, and do we really need to do this right now?
Does this bad news for Biden right now hold all the way to the 2022 midterms? Everyone's looking at the midterms. Republicans wanted to win back the House and Senate. Will this hold, or does he have time to turn this thing around before then?
Oh, he certainly has time, and really that's the key question moving forward is where does the public hold the president closer to Election Day in 2022, right? So in about a year, we should really look at this, and we'll have a much better idea of how the president's job approval is going to impact those congressional races that are going to be hotly contested around the country.
All right, David Dulio, Oakland University, we appreciate you coming on and bringing us your insights. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, Kevin.
All right, have a great weekend. We will talk to you soon. We are out at Motor Bella, and we'll have much more after we take a quick break. You're listening to WJR, we're Detroit.